Respected Indu ma'am, today we are here to present a PowerPoint presentation on the topic Energy Interactions in Earth Surface. Our team members are Sandhu S, Sai Ganesh, Rahul Raj, and myself Aravind, Vishnu Vijay, Justin Joy, Vaishnav GS, and Joel Joseph Francis. Before going to electromagnetic interactions in Earth's surface, we may know about electromagnetic energy. These electromagnetic energy are the main reason for this electromagnetic interaction. The electromagnetic energy are a form of energy that is reflected or emitted from objects in the form of electrical and magnetic waves that can travel through space. It means that it does not need any medium for its propagation, and it can only be detected when it interacts with matters. There are many forms of electromagnetic energy, including gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet radiation, visible light, infrared radiation, microwaves, and radio waves. In our solar system, sun is one of the main sources of energy, and it emits a lot of electromagnetic radiation. Most of them reaches our earth too. One of the most dangerous electromagnetic radiation from sun is ultraviolet radiation, and it is absorbed by our ozone layer, which protects from us from that ultraviolet radiation. And some other radiation such as infrared radiation, X-rays from sun reaches our earth too. In this figure, it shows that when these radiations reaches our earth, it get reflected, or some get transmitted, some get absorbed. This figure shows that the reflected rays get reflected when it touches the objects in our surface. For example, when it touches the buildings, the paved roads, the grass, the water, the forest, the trees, anything, when it get contact, it get reflected, absorbed, or transmitted. As mentioned in the previous slides about reflection, absorption, and transmission, these are the main surface features of energy interactions: the reflection, absorption, and transmission. When electromagnetic energy reaches the Earth's surface, there are three possible energy interactions that are mentioned in previous slides, such as reflection, absorption, and transmission. Reflection occurs when radiation bounces off the target and is redirected. Absorption occurs when radiation is absorbed into the target. Transmission occurs when radiation passes through the target. In this slide, it is a figure shows about a flower petal which undergo reflection, absorption, and transmission. All electromagnetic energy reaches Earth's surface must get reflected, absorbed, and transmitted. The proportion of each depends on the spectral reflectance properties of the surface material, the surface smoothness relative to the radiation wavelength, the wavelength, and the angle of illumination.
Reflection occurs when the radiation bounces off the target and is redirected. There are two types of reflections: specular reflection and diffused reflection. When a surface is smooth, we get specular or mirror-like reflection where all of the energy is directed away from the surface and is reflected on a single direction. Diffuse reflection occurs when the surface is rough and the energy is reflected almost uniformly in all directions. Most of the Earth's surface features lies somewhere between perfectly specular or perfectly diffuse reflectors. If the wavelengths are much smaller than the surface variations or the particle sizes that make up the surface, diffuse reflections will dominate. The reflectance characteristics of Earth's surface features may be quantified by measuring the portion of incident energy that is reflected. This is measured as a function of wavelength and is called spectral reflectance. It is mathematically defined as energy of wavelength reflected upon the object by energy of wavelength incident upon the object, and it is expressed in percentage. A graph on the spectral reflectance of an object as a function of wavelength is termed as spectral reflectance curve.
Transmission. When electromagnetic radiation is incident on Earth's surface, part of the energy gets scattered from the surface and part of the energy gets transmitted into the medium. The part of the energy which gets scattered from the surface is known as surface scattering. In homogeneous materials, the radiation is simply transmitted, and in case of inhomogeneous materials, the transmitted radiation gets farther scattered, and this is known as volume scattering. The signal received by sensor is a combination of both the process, that is volume scattering and surface scattering. Transmission of radiation occurs when radiation passes through a substance without significant attenuation. The ability of a medium to transmit energy is measured in transmittance, and transmittance can be defined as the ratio between transmitted radiation and incident radiation.
Absorption is the collection of energy by the target. During absorption, the electromagnetic radiations are taken up by the electrons in the bound atoms and it is transformed into internal energy. The internal energy is stored as thermal energy. Usually, thermal energy is calculated in terms of its rise in temperature. Specific energy absorption is the energy absorbed per unit mass and the unit is kilojoule per kilogram. The absorbed energy due to thermal interaction can also be measured as the change in enthalpy delta H, which is the total heat content. The sun is the primary source of electromagnetic radiation on Earth. The Earth is constantly bombarded with electromagnetic radiation. But before the electromagnetic energy from the sun reaches the Earth's surface, it must pass through the atmosphere. The atmosphere protects us from the exposure to higher energy radiation that can be harmful to life, that is, X-rays and gamma rays. As the energy passes through the atmosphere, it interacts with the molecules and particles present in the atmosphere. In the atmosphere, EMR is scattered or reflected, absorbed, and a portion of the energy passes through the atmosphere to reach the Earth's surface. This has significant implications to remote sensing. All radiation detected by remote sensors pass through the atmosphere for some distance. This distance is called path length. A portion of the incoming solar radiation is absorbed by the gases in the Earth's atmosphere. The primary gases that are responsible for the majority of the atmospheric absorption of the energy are water vapor, carbon dioxide, and ozone.
A chemical compound in leaves is called the chlorophyll. This chlorophyll strongly absorbs radiation in wavelength bands centered at about 0.45 micron to 0.67 micron, that is about in the blue and the red wavelengths, but it reflects and gives the green wavelengths. Leaves appear greenish to us in the summer, which means that the chlorophyll content is at its maximum. In autumn season, there is less chlorophyll in the leaves, so there is less absorption and proportionately more reflection of the red wavelengths, making the leaves appear red or yellow. Yellow is a combination of both red and green wavelengths. The internal structure of the healthy leaves act as an excellent diffuse reflectors of near-infrared wavelengths. In the range from about 0.7 micron to 1.3 micron, a plant leaf typically reflects 40 to 50% of energy incident on it. If our eyes were sensitive to near-infrared, trees would appear extremely bright to us at these wavelengths. In fact, measuring and monitoring the near IR reflectance is one way that scientists can determine how healthy or unhealthy vegetation may be. Beyond 1.3 micron, energy incident upon vegetation is essentially absorbed or reflected, with little or no transmission at all. Dips in reflectance occurs 1.4, 1.9, 2.7 micron because water in the leaf absorbs strongly at these wavelengths. Accordingly, wavelengths in these spectral regions are referred to as water absorption bands. The reflectance peaks occur at 1.6 micron and 2.2 micron between the absorption bands.
The soil curve shows considerably less peak and valley variation in reflectance. Some of the factors affecting soil reflectance are moisture content, organic matter content, soil texture, surface roughness,
and proportion of iron oxide. These factors are complex, variable, and interrelated. For example, the presence of moisture in soil will decrease in its reflectance. As vegetation, this effect is greatest in the water absorption band. Soil moisture content is strongly related to soil texture. Coarse, sandy soils are usually well drained, resulting in low moisture content and relatively higher reflectance. Poorly drained, fine textured soil are generally lower reflectance. Thus, the reflectance property of the soil are consistent only within particular range of condition. Two other factors that reduce soil reflectance are surface roughness and content of organic matter. The presence of iron oxide in soil will also significantly decreases reflectance, at least in the visible wavelength. Finally, because soil are essentially opaque to visible and infrared radiation, it should be noted that reflectance come from the uppermost layer of the soil and may not be indicative in the properties of the bulk of the soil.
We are going to discuss about the spectra of water. Longer wavelength visible and near infrared radiation is absorbed more by the water than shorter visible wavelengths. Thus, water typically looks blue or blue-green due to the shorter reflectance at these shorter wavelengths, which can be less than about 0.6 mm and darker if viewed at red or near infrared wavelengths. If there is suspended sediment present in the upper layer of the water body, then this will allow better reflectivity and a brighter appearance of the water. The apparent color of the water will show a slight shift to longer wavelengths. Suspended sediments can also be easily confused with shallow water since these two phenomena appear very similar. Chlorophyll in algae absorbs more of the blue wavelengths and reflects the green, making the water appear more green in color when the algae is present. The topography of the water surface, which can be rough or smooth, can also lead to complications for water-related interpretations due to potential problems of specular reflection and other influences on color and brightness. We can see from these examples that depending on the complex makeup of the target that is being looked at and the wavelength of reflection involved, we can observe very different responses to mechanisms of absorption, transmission and reflection. By measuring the energy that is reflected or emitted by targets on their surface over a variety of different wavelengths, we can build up a spectral reflectance curve or spectral response pattern for that object. A spectral reflectance curve for vegetation, soil and water is shown. By comparing the response patterns of different features, we may be able to distinguish between them, which we might not be able to if we only compare them at one wavelength. For example, water and vegetation may reflect somewhat similarly in the visible wavelengths, but are almost always separable in the infrared. Spectral responses can be quite variable even for the same target type and can also vary with time, for example with greenness of leaves and location. Knowing where to look spectrally and understanding the factors which influence the spectral response of the features of interest are critical to correctly interpreting the interaction of electromagnetic radiation with the surface. Spectral reflectance can also be referred to as spectral signatures.
Spectral reflectance curves for vegetation, soil, and water. Depending on the complex makeup of the target that is being looked at and the wavelengths of the radiations involved, we can observe very different responses to the mechanisms of absorption, transmission, and reflection. By measuring the energy that is reflected by the target on the Earth's surface over a variety of different wavelengths, we can build up a spectral reflectance curve or spectral response pattern for that object. By comparing the response patterns of different features, we may be able to distinguish between them, where we might not be able to if we only compare them at one wavelength. For example, water and vegetation may reflect somewhat similarly to the visible wavelengths but are almost always separable in the infrared. Spectral response can be quite variable even for the same target type and can also vary with time and location. Spectral reflectance curves are also referred to as spectral signatures. The reflectance properties of bead object depend on the material and its physical and chemical state, the surface roughness as well as the angle of sunlight. Spectral reflectance curves graph the reflectance of objects as a function of wavelength.
Identification of surface material based on spectral. The reflectance properties of DIN object depend on the material and its physical and chemical state. The surface roughness as well as angle of the sunlight. Spectral reflectance curve graph the reflectance of objects as a function of wavelength. We conclude our PowerPoint presentation here. Thank you.